Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of Flesh Wound Farce, where we review and discuss your and our favorite comedy films. This is the world's first and only combination trivia host and professional wrestling announcer of Chilean descent that currently resides in Southern California, Ozzy V. And with me, as always, on this program, first in the Northern California Bay Area, world's famous juggler, Greg Larson. How you doing, Greg?
Doing all right. Just still on the God of War. But, you know, had to go back to an older film, to an actor that some people found annoying. And so it'll be interesting to talk about this one today. How are you doing, Ozzy?
I don't know. We'll find out towards the end based on that. Like, I don't know if this is like Greg with a ruse here, but I don't know. We'll see.
Did you think Pauly Shore was well liked in the 90s, Ozzy?
No, I did not think that was like because here's the thing. It's like what Greg just said wasn't necessarily a reflection of this is how this person was felt about in the early 90s. It was more, this is how I feel about them now. So I'm concerned because Pauly Shore, to me, like, I was exposed to him as I was a young child, so he was very funny to me.
Right.
I saw Encino Man and Son-in-Law, right? So
right. It was more him and Adam Sandler were both kind of looked at the same way. And with this film, we all know how I felt about the Adam Sandler film we last watched. So revisiting old films is always dangerous for how you felt about them versus.
I got you. Okay.
Anyway. Yeah.
All right. Well, cat's kind of out of the bag. We also have Flesh Wound producer Todd with us. How you doing, Todd?
Chilling. At least Adam Sandler didn't get his spot through nepotism.
Fair point. But
who's he related? I don't know who he's related to.
Oh, Pauly Shore's mother owns the Comedy Store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I mean, we'll get into this momentarily when I delve into this movie. Speaking of the movie, that is Son-in-Law, that was released on July 2nd, 1993 by Hollywood Pictures, rated PG-13. Todd, do you have a trailer available?
Yes, we do.
Excellent.
It was a peaceful farming community. A place where everything had stayed the same for generations. They've always known that someday change would come, but no one expected it to come home with the girl next door.
Middle America. Who the hell is that?
He's weird.
He's like nothing they've ever seen. Nothing they've ever heard.
I don't want to be rude or anything, but Miss Warner, you're giving me a semi.
You distract him, I'm gonna hit him over the head with a shovel.
So basically, we're not going to be hanging out? No.
But after spending a little time together...
So you're just an old hacker disguised as an idiot.
Why don't you, put a little makeup on him?
The great American family...
You don't like it, do you?
No, I think I do.
...will never be the same again.
Let's chow down here and munch some grinding!
And he'll turn one small town into one huge party.
Check out the wood that I created for him. You okay?
Beautiful day.
Feel the breeze and let it fly. Oh yeah, 747.
The Son-in-Law.
What do you think their kids are gonna look like?
And that was Son-in-Law with a runtime of 1 hour, 35 minutes, again rated PG-13, released on July 2nd, 1993. Written, or rather the story, by Patrick J. Clifton, Susan McMartin, and Peter J. Lenkov, with the screenplay by Fax Barr, Adam Small, and Sean Sheps. Directed by Steve Rash. Starring Pauly Shore, Carla Gugino, Patrick Renna, and Tiffani-Amber Thiessen. Initial thoughts on this one. This happened, well, the reason I picked this one up is primarily loosely based around Thanksgiving. She's coming home for Thanksgiving,
Yes,
so
here
here we are. Thanksgiving is Thursday, just to clarify. Because, I mean, I feel so awkward doing this one before Encino Man.
I was wondering. This 2 in a row. I'm shocked.
Yeah. I know. We should have done UHF before Weird, and we should have done Encino Man before Son-in-Law. But there's plenty of time for course correction. Back onto this one. This was a movie that I had recorded on. It was either like a Cinemax, Showtime, HBO preview one a week these weekends. And this was one of these movies that I would watch just over and over again because, as mentioned earlier, to a 10-year-old kid, Pauly Shore was hilarious. And all that stuff was I was like Patrick Renna in the movie. I was the little brother. Like, this was just fun for me to watch. And I remember watching this movie a lot of times. And it was fun to revisit because there were some things that I just caught this time around that I didn't catch last time. And it wasn't necessarily in relation to any like older jokes, so to speak. Greg?
Yeah, I remember watching this before, and I thought it was good. It was fun back then, but now watching it, I actually have a deeper appreciation for it. Like, I really feel like that. Like, I went in watching this with that same nervousness after watching the last Adam Sandler flick we did, thinking, oh God, I hope this holds up. And it's even better now. Like, I think because of the family aspects and everything, and plus as someone who was a city boy that moved to the mountains for a while, I kind of felt his pain. So, you know, it was a fun film to get back to, and it holds up. This isn't one of those films that you go back and you watch and you're like, oh yeah. Some of the jokes are dated, you know, but and speaking of Encino Man, there was an Encino Man reference in the movie, which I was like, nobody would understand that if they watched it now, you know, but
because we didn't do Encino Man before this, so our listeners don't
right. So, but yeah, this is great to go back and visit.
Todd?
Initial thoughts, I saw this, yes, in the theaters, but I got a twist on this one. On a date way back in 1993. I will not let the outcome of that play into this film at all. I've always actually liked this film. I mean, I got to stare at Tiffani-Amber Thiessen, but not long enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you have bootleg John Goodman, always made me but, yeah, this is a fun. I never really was like about Encino Man, but this one, yeah, I've always enjoyed. Although, okay, here's the one thing. Like, this is total 90s fish out of water story. I'm fine with Pauly Shore voice until someone else does it. Then I'm just like, oh, I don't want to. It's nails on the chalkboard. Anytime someone tries to do, even in this, when they were trying to do it, I was like, oh God. So,
well, that's why they kept it to just one word. Like they would only do one word of his thing, so it's like it separates. So that way it trends. I understand it's too much, but it also gives the message to the audience like, oh, he's the only one that could do that. Like nobody else could really do that. But going back to Greg's point about going back and actually finding appreciation more for this movie now than back then is because at its heart, it actually is a genuine family story of, you know, like they were not like the perfect family when she left for college. There was still like everybody had their own kind of internal stuff or whatever. So it's just kind of like a going in line with like a holiday movie. It's got these feel good moments that come about because of this new individual coming into play. And at first, no one wanting to give him a shot. Then slowly but surely, one by one, they start talking to him, and then he starts talking. And everybody improves, and it just becomes a fun story inherently at its base. Right. Add in the humor that isn't as dated as was the Adams as Billy Madison was.
Yeah,
you could there was a couple things, but for the most part, it was a city boy on the farm, which was a lot of the gags, right? So it's something that I think everybody, for the most part, could enjoy, I'd imagine. So yeah, going back to it now in this age, definitely appreciate it much more. In terms of the favorite parts, I had a bunch of favorite parts when I was younger, And I still had a bunch of favorite parts now. It's so difficult. And even like a line that I loved as a kid, I didn't even write down just because like that was a line that I always had in my head. And I'm not sure if won't be either one of your guys's, so I won't say it. But one that made me laugh hard now more than did then was the Flea cameo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because I didn't really get the joke when she asked, I'm looking for something feminine. And then he says he's standing right next to me. Like I never made that connection as a child. And then him getting upset in his way. And then like, look at him. You're all freaked out. You look, what are you freak? He's got a good point. I laughed harder now at that scene than I ever did before. Oh man. And it's tough not to say Steven Tyler PJs like that just, I laughed harder now than I did then. Yeah. So those two moments now, I should say, I still, the other moments that I have here are moments that I laughed before, but I wanted to point out those two because these two I laughed harder this time around than I did back then. Greg?
Well, I've got one that I want to say is a favorite line, and one that I want to say was a missed opportunity of a line. So one of my favorite lines, because I love a line that's innocently said but taken the wrong way. And when Pauly Shore says, right after you bailed, I popped your daughter's trunk. And the reaction of the dad was just so good. And I was like, well, but he did. That was great. But the missed opportunity moment that, granted, I'm sure they had reasons for it, but is it okay if we spoil some of this movie? I
think so.
Yeah, the time's gone by quite a bit. So there, he's Pauly Shore's caught with a girl at one point, and there's all this drama. And at one point, she drives by, and she tells him get in. She says get in, because she's got to drive him somewhere. And when she says get in, he says, I think we spent enough time together, instead of saying that's what got us in trouble in the first place. And I think that line would have been much better.
I could imagine that line being cut by a studio because of the PG-13 rating. Because if it was rated R, that would fit like in an R rating joke. But because it was PG-13 and still somewhat holiday-ish,
right,
with the family theme going on, I think they went a little bit tamer on that.
That's fair. So. That's fair.
But still, good point. Todd?
I went back and forth on this one. One is about the part towards the end, but the one that like just got me this time was Travis was the old boyfriend, right?
Right.
Okay. When like after he proposes and they're outside and he goes and he punches him in the face and Pauly Shore starts crying and he's just like, why did you do that? And Pauly's crying
like a 6-year-old.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah.
I'm actually glad you brought that up because like the way he behaves is very unique to him. It's almost like the Bruce Willis where he's not being casted as, like someone who has a range. He's casted to be Pauly Shore in this movie. Right. He's just Pauly Shore in Encino Man. He's Pauly Shore in this movie, whatever. Right. But going back to the point, Todd, when you mentioned earlier that, at least Adam Sandler didn't get his gig through nepotism. The thing is that Pauly Shore definitely has a unique, oddly enough, charisma. It was mentioned a couple times at the beginning of the movie, but he has a unique charisma and just a unique personality that you're kind of drawn to. So when he can actually fit in movies like these, at least for the time.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's the thing. His character's kind of dated.
If you did not grow up with it, if you weren't familiar with it at the time that you were in that era, yeah, I could see it'd be like, not my thing. But
it's also got an innocence to it that I think
that's true
will always transcend I think that's why you can't like completely hate him and why he kind of fits into these kind of he's not what you want but he's what you need kind of movies. It's just because he's genuine, he's innocent with his character.
That's a fair point, and it's also the same case in Encino Man too.
Mm-hmm. Which point. By the way, I do want to bring up, do you guys think so there's is it In the Army Now that Brendan Fraser also does an Encino Man? cameo, or there's an Encino Man cameo somewhere within that movie. But so it seems like these movies they're all connected because Encino Man comes through. But Pauly Shore's character isn't the same character each time. So does he have twins? Are they like all separated?
That's exactly what we need, is a Pauly Shore into the Shoreverse.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got a Pauly Shore multiverse.
With your Encino Man, with you have Krull and Stoney, and
then we lock them all in the biodome.
Yeah. See, I mean, like this could be left for another discussion, but I felt there was a drop off with In the Army Now and Jury Duty, but I felt return to form with Biodome personally. We've already discussed Biodome a long time ago, but that you can check that out in the archives. So going into the ratings of this, now there was a lot of more, I felt, just genuine family moments over more humorous haha moments. And even when I was going through, like, because I just like to make sure that I'm able to see it on whatever console I'm watching it on, and I'll like just get to a part and make sure the sound's working. And at the small little part when they're in the dorm, I always loved that scene, but I loved it more when I was a kid, right? So that's why I didn't want to, that whole scene. But again, not as many like laugh out loud moments that you would find in like what I would regularly rate as like a 5-star comedy. This is hilarious and watch it over and over again. But it's still like a genuinely good story that I am at least watching every Thanksgiving. So I got to put it as a solid 4, because it doesn't have so many of those comedic moments that I really want out of a comedy, but it still has like enough genuine feel good moments that I guess just make it fun.
Right.
Like literally fun, not just fun, haha funny, but just a funny movie.
Yeah, that's a super fair assessment. And you know, if I were just rating this on comedy, like I'd probably agree, but I think because it's just sometimes just need that heart, and I think that really hit me at the right time watching this again. So just all around the fun factor of it and how much I enjoyed this, I'm still gonna give it a 4.5. I really did enjoy this film, and I thought that the characters were great. They all had great story arcs, you know, and there wasn't a character I felt was wasted in this movie. So definitely give that credit where credit's due.
This movie did what Biodome didn't. It made me want to watch other Pauly Shore movies. So,
how dare you?
I don't
Biodome
dislike,
is a treasure.
I do not dislike Biodome at all. I'm just saying this one did that and Biodome did not.
I get it. Well, after Biodome, I got my fill of Pauly Shore.
I got my maximum storage.
Yeah. Son-in-law's like, I could take some more.
So with that, I'm a 4. So yeah, it's a good
time. I think I mean, granted that we didn't give it like perfect scores. I think we are all in agreement by saying this is absolutely one that should be watched at least at every Thanksgiving. Fair to say a Thanksgiving movie. It happens around that time. The whole plot of the movie revolves around her coming home for Thanksgiving specifically. There's a turkey scene, for Christ's sake.
Right?
Come on. So check it. I believe, is it on Hulu, Todd?
Yeah, it's currently streaming on Hulu. Yes, perfect, just in time for Thanksgiving.
Exactly. That's probably why Hulu put it on. People are going to want to watch this. They're going to watch Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, and they're going to want to watch Dutch. Oh, there you go.
We're going to watch those Planes, Trains, and Automobiles extra deleted scenes.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I think it is fair to say that because, I mean, we reviewed that film last year for on the Thanksgiving week. It was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. In case you are unaware, there is a special edition DVD that is out that features, is it a DVD or Blu-ray? It's Blu-ray.
4K.
It's a 4K Blu-ray.
Yes.
And it features over 90 minutes of additional, never before seen footage. So this is essentially like a whole nother movie. So if you're a fan of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, check out that special edition Blu-ray. I believe it's already out now, I would imagine.
Yes.
I'm still hoping like 20 minutes is this like sitting at a bus stop, not doing anything.
I would just love to see like if John Hughes just put him in a room, just talk.
Yeah.
Like just in character, just talk. That's what I would love to see, but who knows. But back to Son-in-Law. Check this out on Hulu. It's definitely a good time. And of course, we will be back next week with a new episode and actually some news. So next month is the month of December, obviously Christmas coming up. So we will have Christmas comedies that we will begin to review. Now for the first Monday in December, that I believe is December 6th, December 5th, we will have a Patreon voted movie that we will be reviewing and discussing. Can I announce what one of the entries on that list is going to be?
Oh, so you've already said, yeah, it's going to be. Go for it.
Well, I mean, because you said we were discussing what movies we should watch for this Christmas time. Right?
I've already had one request, so you can do that one, and I'll name the other one.
Okay, so one of the requests was mentioned, and I said, put that available up for a vote. That one being Ernest Saves Christmas. So if you're a Patreon member, patreon.com/fleshwoundfeatures, and you can vote only at $1 a month. It only takes $1 a month to be able to vote. Ernest Saves Christmas will be one of the options. I don't know what the other options are, but Todd, you mentioned this request here. Is this a request that will be another option?
Oh, yes, this is definitely is because.
Are you going to say this?
Oh, yes, it is Jack Frost, and it's not the Michael Keaton one.
Wasn't that like a horror movie?
Depends on your definition. It's not, there's nothing horror about it.
Really? Okay. All right. Well,
there is actually a new one, Jack Frost, that's coming out this Christmas. That's a pure horror movie.
Is it personal this time?
No, it's no relation. But we did just review a movie about a killer Christmas tree, so you can go check that out.
I'll be okay.
Okay.
I just completely lost my train of thought.
Okay,
right. Patreon. Go to patreon.com/fleshwoundfeatures for your opportunity to vote on which movie we will be reviewing and discussing in a couple of weeks for the first Monday of December. But next week, we will be back with a new episode. So be sure to like, subscribe, follow. We'll see you next week. For world famous juggler Greg Larson and Flesh Wound producer Todd, I'm Ozzy V. And we'll see you next week right here on Flesh Wound Farce.